Hello everybody, can you see me? I have this way overgrown basil plant that's in a pot that needs my attention. And what I'm going to do today is make pesto out of it. I should have been picking this basil plant a little while ago and not let it get so tall, but I have been pinching it back at the top, and for the most part I've been taking the little flowers away where they're going to make seeds, and that would make the plant stop producing. There are a few flower pods. For the most part I've been keeping them picked off. Basil pesto is one of my favorite things, and it's really quite easy to make if you have lots of basil that you grew yourself. And I'm going to also show you how to make it more affordable. The first thing I'm going to do is go through here and pick these sprigs off of. I've got my trusty little scissors here, and I'm going to cut sprigs off that look like that. Here's the thing, never go in and just pick off leaves from your basil plant. That will kill it. It'll all just turn into a woody stem, and then it will just die. I used to raise a lot of basil and take the plants to the market, and so I had to teach a lot of people how to pick it properly. If you pick it properly, a single plant can probably give you all the basil you want if you're an average person. But if you don't pick it properly, there's a good chance that you will kill it. Because this thing has been a little bit neglected for a while, I'm going to pick off all of the sprigs that look like this. It's going to be chopped back pretty hard when I'm done. Basil is a little bit temperamental, and you never want to put your cut basil in the refrigerator because it will turn it black. You need to have it at cool room temperature and treat it like cut flowers. Put the stem down in a container of water and just let it stick up over the top as you would a cut flower. If you left it there, it would actually take root and make a new plant. But if you're wanting the basil for making food, then leave it there on your counter until you are ready to use it. It looks like I scalped the plant, and I did trim it back really hard, but it actually likes to be trimmed because it will give it new growth. All of the lower branches will put out new branches, and it'll actually be a prettier plant later on. It won't be quite so tall and skinnier. Well, I've got a good amount of basil here, but there are still a couple other places on my property where basil's growing. So I'm going to go collect from those places too, and then I'm going to take you into the kitchen and we're going to start the pesto process. Well, I'm in the kitchen with the basil, and I have a lot of basil. My plan is to make enough pesto that I can put it in the freezer, and then I can have pesto several times over this winter. I prefer not to even wash my basil when I'm going to make pesto, but I had so much here and a lot of it was dirty, so I had to give it 2 rinses actually. I've drained it pretty well, and now we're ready to go to the next step, which is to take the leaves off. You don't want to put stems in your pesto, so what I'm going to be doing next is taking each leaf off of the stems, discarding the stems, and collecting the leaves. I have my basil all prepared by washing it and taking the leaves off of the stem. I can't do all of it at once in my food processor, so what I'm going to do is in 4-cup batches, where I will be using 4 cups of basil, and I'm going to put it in my 4-cup measuring cup here and press it down pretty good. It's hard to measure stuff like this in the cup because of its fluffiness. How hard should you press it down? But I'm going to put it in there pretty hard. I'm going to have several batches here, so I'm going to have to concentrate on eating pesto for a while. And then I need 1/2 cup of olive oil. I'm going to use English walnuts instead of pine nuts. Pine nuts are expensive and it's not something I ever have in my house. So I have English walnuts, and I think that they are probably just as good. Maybe the connoisseur could tell the difference, but not me. I need a 1/3 cup of walnuts. I need 2 to 3, these are kind of small, so I did 3 cloves of garlic, a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. I don't have any fresh Parmesan cheese to grate, so I'm just going to use the canned stuff from the grocery store, and then about 1 teaspoon of salt. Even in small batches, that's going to be a lot. After it's all pulverized, there's not nearly as much of it in there. Now I've made it whenever it wasn't chopped up finely, and I've made it whenever it was more pasty. I actually prefer it a finer pasty type of consistency. I think this might be somewhere in the middle. I think I read that if you want it finer, you can put it in a blender, but I feel like it's not going to be as easy to deal with in a blender as it is the food processor. I have clean 1/2 pint jars sitting here for this job, so I'm going to work it down into a couple of them. It looks like it might be the equivalent of about 2, but we'll see what happens. Try to work it down to get the air bubbles out. So all of that only made about 1, and it looks like maybe in half of another one. I'm surprised how much it worked down. Since my purpose is to freeze this, what I should do, pour some of my olive oil over the top of it to coat the top, and that will help it stay fresh and not turn black in the freezer. Whenever I'm ready to use this, I will just take it out, thaw it out, and stir it up before I use it, and it'll be really good to go. This will be a very nice summer treat in the middle of the winter. So I have 2 or 3 more batches to work my way through. I'll get that done, get them in the jars, put them in the freezer, and then we'll get to enjoy some pesto this winter. I appreciate you coming around and learning how to make pesto, and I'll see you next time. Well, I'm satisfied. Tickled too. Learning how to make basil pesto. That didn't look very good.